MLB award season continues with the Cy Youngs. Who are my selections? Well, let's get into it. What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast, bringing you my thoughts and selections on both the American League and National League Cy Young Award winners for the 2024 campaign. We're going to start things off in the American League, really breaking down who the candidates are and my selection. For me, I think that there's a very, very simple outcome in the American League side of things, but we're going to break it down 3-1. So the third candidate on the list is Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians. The fact is that Clase had a tremendous season for the Guardians, allowing just 5 runs all year. When we look at his stat line for the 2024 season, a 4.4 WAR, 0.61 ERA, had 47 saves in 74 games, pitching 74 1/3 innings with 66 strikeouts and a whip of .659. So well under the 1 walk/hit per innings pitched. That is a tremendous season. And when you think about the amount of workload that Emmanuel Clase had to put in, the amount of dominance that he had to be to end up as one of the finalists for an award that predominantly goes to starting pitching, given the vast difference in terms of workload that starters have and relievers have. Now, obviously, with the bullpenning attack and the way things have started to turn in terms of how in-game management is happening, the full-out bullpen attack, and the way the world is going in Major League Baseball, these numbers are going to start skewing closer together, but there is still a discrepancy between the starter's workload and the reliever's workload. But Emmanuel Clase was so dominant that he absolutely merited inclusion in this list. But ultimately, I think because of the fact that he is a reliever, he is going to find himself falling short on this particular year. The second candidate is that of Seth Lugo from the Kansas City Royals. Lugo had a tremendous year. To me, one of the more under-the-radar seasons, given the fact that the Kansas City Royals were predominantly, when you hear about them discussed on the national stage, it is about Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez, and rightfully so. But it was that pitching staff and the additions that J.J. Picollo made to that pitching staff with guys like Seth Lugo, amongst others, that really helped this Kansas City Royals team this season blossom into something tremendous, to go from a team that had over 100 losses in 2023 to a postseason team. And Seth Lugo was a big part of that. When you look at his numbers for the year, 5.3 WAR, 33 games started, 16-9 win-loss record, an ERA of 3 on the dot, 181 strikeouts and 206 2/3 innings of work, and a whip of 1.089, so just over that 1 walk/hit per innings pitched. When you think about what this Royals team would have been without a guy like Seth Lugo, I think that they fall short. Obviously, those 16 wins are a big deal, but the fact to go out there, start a full season's worthload of work in 33 games, keeping his team in it with an ERA of 3. And when you look a little deeper into the numbers, Lugo would have a FIP, which is fielding independent pitching. So the things that a pitcher quantifiably controls: walks, strikeouts, and home run balls. He had an ERA of 3.25, so he really kept his team in the game. And when you look at what ERA plus signals as a way of kind of quantifying all the numbers for a pitcher into one single number, Lugo in 2024 had an ERA plus of 141, 100 being league average. So without a doubt, this was a tremendous season, being based on Baseball Reference WAR 41% better than league average. Now, I say all that to say that as tremendous a year as Seth Lugo had, I still think that he finishes in a second place to who I believe is going to be the eventual and, in my opinion, unanimous winner for the 2024 American League Cy Young Award, and that is Tarik Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. When you look at the season that this young left-hander had, it is absolutely phenomenal. There is no other word to describe it. You can add more adjectives to that list, but there is not a negative thing about his season. when you look at what he did during the regular season campaign. 6.3 WAR, an ERA of 2.39, 18-4 win-loss record, 31 games started, 192 innings pitched, 228 strikeouts, and a whip of .922. Then when you dig a little deeper, you go into the numbers. His ERA plus was that of 170. 70% better than league average. His FIP, again, fielding independent pitching, the things that a pitcher predominantly controls, he had a FIP of 2.50, both of which led the league. His 228 strikeouts led the league. Without a doubt, this was an absolutely Cy Young Award caliber season, and I think that there are many more in this young left-hander's future. I think that it is without a doubt going to be a Tarek Skubal unanimous selection for the Cy Young Award. Now, as we switch over to the National League side of things, I think there's a much more competitive race. I think that it is going to be an absolute toss-up between our top two contenders, but obviously there are three candidates on and finalists on the board. So we begin with number 3, and I believe that it will be Paul Skeens. I think that when you look at the dominance that Paul had coming up this season, it is why I selected him as the likely winner of the 2024 National League Rookie of the Year. Again, this is recorded before the awards are announced, so if he did win, obviously it was a dominant season. But I do believe that because of having less innings on the books than the other two finalists for this award, that is going to be the sole reason that Paul Skeens finishes in third place. I think that when you see the dominance that he had on the mound, the absolute electricity that came off of that right arm, there's no doubt about it that there are Cy Young Awards in this young man's future. I think that when you look at the simple fact that he started in 23 games for the Pittsburgh Pirates when our other two candidates started over 30, you know that there's going to be an opportunity for them to be able to really put themselves in a position to be successful long term. Paul Skeens is going to be an absolute force in this league, but ultimately I think that the lesser workload is what's going to have him finishing in third place. Now, when it comes to the number 1 and number 2, it is absolutely a coin toss. When you think about the workload of a starting pitcher, you think about a guy like Zach Wheeler. And I think ultimately Zach will fall into second place in this award, even though if I were voting, I would likely vote for Zach Wheeler as number 1. But I think that when you think about the seasons that both of these gentlemen had, Zach Wheeler was a part of a playoff caliber team that was World Series bound, in my opinion. They had the makings of a team that could win it all. And part of that reason was because of what Zach Wheeler is capable of doing on a nightly basis. When he goes out there, gave the Phillies 32 starts, a WAR of 6.1, 16-7 record, 2.57 ERA, 200 innings pitched, 224 strikeouts, a whip of .955, and he had himself an ERA plus of 158 and a FIP of 3.13. These are tremendous numbers, and again, I think that on another year, this could be a Cy Young caliber season. And to me, it is a travesty that the Zach Wheeler that we've seen with the Philadelphia Phillies has not yet won one. And in my opinion, again, if I were voting, I would be voting for Zach Wheeler as the 2024 National League Cy Young Award. But ultimately, I think Wheeler falls into second place. Now, as we get into the number 1 selection, I have to make a slight correction. I said that both of the top 2 finalists were having over 30 games started. Chris Sale falls in at 29, but nevertheless, the season that he had was absolutely ridiculous. 6.2 WAR, 18-3 win-loss record, 2.38 ERA in 29 games started, 177 2/3 innings, 225 strikeouts with a whip of 1.013. He would also find himself coming in with a FIP of a 2.09, a league best, and 174 in the ERA plus category, again, league best. There's no doubt about it that this is a caliber of pitcher that also deserves a Cy Young, and I believe that this will be the year that Chris Sale walks away as a Cy Young Award winner. There's no doubt that the Atlanta Braves, without Chris Sale making those starts that he did, would not have made the postseason. This was a team that was absolutely ravaged by injuries all season long. And Chris Sale was someone that was seen as a throw-in candidate. Obviously, Atlanta has had tremendous success when it comes to pitchers and having them be at the top of their game. And that's exactly what we saw when Chris Sale went down to Atlanta after the trade from the Boston Red Sox. When you think about what this means for this organization going forward, they extended him. So this is someone that they are relying upon going into next season, someone who is going to be able to provide stability at the front end of that rotation. Winning the Cy Young is just the cherry on top of a comeback season for Chris Sale. But I want to hear from you. Let me know, baseball fans, what your thoughts are on the National League and American League Cy Young pitchers for the 2024 season. Let me know who you believe should be the victor of the award. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and we can chop it up there. As always, if you have not yet hit subscribe, please hit that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications, as we are continuing to try to build out this community, and there will be much more content all throughout the offseason heading into the 2025 campaign. So thank you for tuning in. Catch me on all the social media outlets, on X at banter_baseball, everywhere else at Baseball Banter Broadcast, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.